Before we dive into the blood-soaked madness of this 88 film slasher classic collection review, a quick heads up for listeners and viewers alike. These episodes come straight from the podcast Under the Stairs archives, recorded before the launch of the YouTube channel and long before video podcasts became part of the show. These reviews were originally crafted purely for audio. So if the production feels a little rougher around the edges or a little more stripped back than current episodes, that's because you're hearing the show in its earlier form, raw, passionate, and let's be honest, a little waffly at times. Whether you're revisiting these reviews or discovering them for the first time, please sit back and relax and enjoy this trip through the golden age of mass killers, inventive gore, and VH era nightmares. This podcast is not safe for work and will feature movie spoilers. It will feature scenes described of a graphic nature. It will contain language which most listeners may find offensive. Welcome to the podcast Under the Stairs. Hi everyone and welcome to the podcast Under the Stairs. This is your 88 films slasher classic series of reviews, this time looking at disc number 9. We're going to be tackling a little movie called X-Ray. Now, I know what you're thinking, disc number 9, how did that happen? How did that happen? We are almost at a landmark episode, disc number 10. I'm very much looking forward to getting there. To be honest, this front 9 has been a slog, but I did enjoy some Dead of Winter, so I'm interested to see if the streak of kind of getting Duncan on board with these slasher movies can continue. 2 in a row would be nice. I don't think I'm asking too much, am I? We'll find out after the first break. But before we get to that, as always, welcome to the show, ladies and gents. Welcome. This is the last episode of a 3-episode week. And we have a lot planned this month. March was fun. April was crazy. May is fun. That's how I'm going to describe it. We're having a breezy month, but delivering hopefully some quality content for your listening pleasure out there, ladies and gents. We will be returning, of course, tomorrow with our next episode in the Andy Loves Art House series of reviews, and we're tackling a little J-horror for you, a little art house J-horror movie called Spiral from 2001. So get yourself shipshape and Bristol fashion for the episode when it lands in your inbox tomorrow. We'll then be following that up with a little bonus review on Thursday, and then of course the continuation of our 88 Films Italian Collection series on the Sunday. So there we go. Nice short sharp intro to this episode, which will be a nice short sharp episode, because it turns out these slasher movies ain't a lot to hang your hat on. So, yeah, I'm going to take a very short break just now. You're going to hear promos for shows that I love. You're going to hear the trailer for X-Ray. When we return, we're discussing that movie right after this.
Hey, Andrew.
Hey, Maddie.
Do you like horror movies?
I sure do.
Well, did you know that most horror movies are inspired by real-life horror?
Really? Like what?
Well, take The Shining, for instance. That's based on Stephen King's real-life addictions, or The Purge, which could be our country any minute now.
Oh, and The Strangers, which is based on a real-life murder. People should be talking about these things.
Hey, guys.
Oh, hey, Producer Michael.
Hi.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but somebody already is. It's you!
That's right! We are Friday the 13th, the podcast where we talk about horror in real life and horror in media, all from an LGBTQ perspective.
Because we gay, y'all.
We are proud members of the Legion Podcast Network, and we can be found on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or wherever your favorite podcasts are found.
And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Come along with us on this crazy journey, and as always,
get slayed!
And welcome back. So you've just heard the trailer for disc number 9 of the 88 Films Slasher Classic Collection. This is X-Ray. That's right. According to the 88 Films website, it says, few of the slasher flicks from the genre's golden age can match X-Ray's gloriously gory mix of masked maniac menace and intestinal opening extravagance. This medical nightmare has the iconic Playboy pin-up Barbie Benton attending an appointment at the most horrendous hospital imaginable. Perhaps a damning indictment of the American health service, our beautiful brunette is not permitted to leave her ward, subjected to a series of body inspections and blood tests, and stopped from corridor to corridor by a strange weapon-wielding psychopath. Expertly directed by Boaz Davidson, producer of the Expendables series, and originally released by the notorious Schlockmeisters at Cannon Films, X-Ray remains one of the most demented slice and dice epics ever unleashed. The special features for this disc were a brand new interview with the director Boaz Davidson, a brand new interview with the cinematographer Nicholas Josef von Sternberg, a brand new audio commentary with Justin Kerswell, author of The Teenage Wasteland, and Callum Waddell, director of Slice and Dice, the slasher film forever, the usual 88 Films trailer reel, and of course the reversible artwork. The technical specs for the Blu-ray, it's region locked to region B, picture format 1080p HD 185.1, and the audio format is LPCM stereo, language is English, and so no subtitles or anything like that on this disc, and the runtime is an hour and a half, so nice and short. Yeah, nice and short. Kinda love it. But did I love the movie? That's a completely different question. Well, the one thing I will say about this is, Canon at least spend money on their movies. X-Ray actually surprisingly holds up in not only the effects department, but the cinematography department as well, so I'm quite glad that they actually did an interview with the cinematographer for this one, because of all the movies I've seen in the slasher, and you can't see me doing the air quotes, the slasher category, the reason I'm doing the quotes is last week was not a slasher movie, but slasher category, a lot of them leave a lot to be desired when it comes to the camera work, but the camera work in this one actually looks legit good, like really kind of more top tier stuff. And I think just in general, the kind of remastering work they've done here is really, really good. And the effects also really, really good. So for the most part, I'm happy. I'm a happy guy when it comes to that. You take a lot of the pressure I get for being notoriously fickle if you get some good camera work in there. You get some good practical effects in there as well. Added to the mix, surprisingly, Barbie Benton, even though she is a former Playboy, is actually a pretty good actress as well, and I don't mean to sound like demeaning or derogatory when I say that. You just tend to find that when they put centrefolds in movies, they're usually there for one purpose and one purpose only, and that's tits. You know, they'll get their tits out, the male libido audience will go through the roof, and everyone is happy in this kind of little grimy little subgenre of horror. But she actually acts pretty well in this movie, convincing enough that in some scenes I genuinely felt that she was, under threat and kind of threatened for her own life. So for those points, I'm quite thankful. The killer is like gleefully camp in a way which I also really enjoyed, and there's actually surprisingly a decent sense of humour, although I get the feeling it's probably unintentional. I get the feeling that this movie was trying to play more into, this is a creepy slasher movie, and what comes across is it's a bit of a campy slasher movie, and I think a lot of that comes down to its age. I mean, it's an older movie, so what was kind of seen as being menacing in one decade starts to become a bit less menacing, and by 2 or 3 decades removed become a bit twee, and this movie kind of lands in there. I did like some of the setups as well, some of the deaths in general. I love the idea, anything set in a hospital usually has me on board, because you have an endless supply of kind of medical gear to use, and most of it is dangerous and kind of scary, so you put it in that setting, it works. Also the idea of those long corridors, the lights in the ceiling, like someone could be anywhere, hiding under anything. Things are deliberately covered with sheets, so as a result when you're watching them you kind of have that feeling that it could be under there, where it could be behind the doors, all these things. I mean, there is a reason that a movie like Exorcist 3 has one of the most iconic jump scare scenes of all time. set in a hospital, because just that environment, the way you can place the camera, the way you can set up things, works really, really well. So for that, I actually quite enjoyed that as well. The story, it has to be said, is a bit thin, and I mean, I have seen thinner. This is certainly not I could shoot peas through it thin, but it is kind of thin, and that's, to be honest, that's just something that I'm going to have to get over when watching these movies. I don't mind a thin plot as long as you're doing everything else well, and I'll give Boaz Davidson his credit. He is actually a really good director. Some of the choices in here really, really, really worked, and for that, I'm eternally thankful for what they've done. There isn't really much kind of hold your or hang your hat on, so to speak, or kind of hold your hat up to catch when it comes to this movie. It follows the formula pretty much tick by tick through the playbook. And when I watched this movie, I watched it at the weekend, kind of 3 sheets to the wind, which probably made my appreciation for it maybe slightly higher than some of the others, where I went in kind of stone cold sober and sat down and grimaced through most of it, saying, "I'll just fucking do something." This movie didn't have those issues. If anything, this movie just kind of breezed along. An hour and a half is perfect timing for this. I mean, you strip out the credits either side, you're looking at about an hour and 25 to maybe about an hour and 20 all in for a movie like this, and that's how long a slasher movie should be, unless you have a really, really cool setup or a really interesting backstory, which is going to give the audience pause to go back and find out more. So this movie doesn't really do that. I mean, it kind of hoists itself on a very shaky peg in terms of its narrative, but it surprisingly holds together. That was the thing that keeps, and you probably hear it in my voice, the thing that kept coming away from my viewing of this movie is I genuinely expected this movie to be dreadful. Even though Canon were involved with it, Canon were known to put their names to some pretty fucking bad movies. And I was expecting, like we're coming off Dead of Winter, a movie that I really enjoyed because it leaned into the camp, and because it wasn't really a slasher movie. I kind of moved into this one thinking, well, here we go, let's see what this one's got, and I already could feel the kind of cringe factor slip in maybe even in the first 5 minutes. And I just settled into it and I let the movie wash over me, and it's very well put together. It's nothing new, it's very formulaic, but the formula that it does kind of hold on to, it follows fairly stringent too. And like I say, the effects were the bit that got me, because, I mean, it doesn't overdo the effects, but it doesn't need to. But when you want a bit of gore, the movie delivers, and the killer himself is just really schlocky and really funny, and in a way which, once again, I don't necessarily think the movie was aiming for, but in a way that I could kind of get behind. It has a lot going for it in that capacity, and in a lot of respects, it turned out to be a better watch than I expected. Like I say, cinematography is really good. The score itself is actually pretty fun for the movie as well. It kind of plays a little bit over dramatic at times, but in a way which kind of works for it. And I found myself at the end of it saying I could really pick holes in this bit and this bit, but I kind of wanted to be on the movie's side, which is very much unlike some of the other movies we have covered thus far in the series, where I just couldn't wait to put my steel toe cap boot on and start giving it a booting. This movie, I was like, actually, you know what? Fucking fair play to them. Canon, doing what Canon did, is obvious and clear nowadays why that company went under, because they were just spreading themselves out far too thin. But I can't imagine the budget on this movie was huge. But what they did was they entrusted it to a team that kind of knew what they were doing and kind of gave the audience what they wanted. Barbara Benton is fucking stunning. She's a really, really, really beautiful woman. And like I say, surprising to me, she holds her own in the camera. Very, very, very alluring in the camera. You know what I mean? Like, you really do get in a position where you feel yourself falling into a performance, which I quite like. So yeah, not a lot that I can say. This is as middle of the road as you get for slashers for me. I would love to be the guy to be like, this was a revelation and everyone needs to add this to their list. I will say, if you've been going through the list of slasher movies along with me, you're probably at a stage where you're like, why are we still doing these, Duncan? Can we get rid of them? Please, please, please. Oh God, make it stop. I can imagine that's maybe where you are, but what I will say is I thought this movie was very, very entertaining. and it breezed through. Did not even feel an hour and a half, felt like about an hour, and then it was done. Once again, alcohol may have helped that. So all in all, I give it a 3.5 out of 5. I found myself really enjoying it. Will I ever go back to it? I have no idea. Considering this is 1981 as well, and we're at almost the pinnacle of the heyday of the slasher movie, this is a surprisingly well put together movie which doesn't lean into like, oh, it's Mother's Day and Father's Day and Anniversary and April Fool's Day and Friday the 13th and Halloween and all those schlocky things. This one's just a straight down the road slasher, and it does it surprisingly well. So there we go. Told you, nice short review. Not a lot to say about this movie at all, except I enjoyed it while I watched it and will probably never watch it again. Right, I'm going to close out the show, and I'm going to do it right after this. And you've been listening to the podcast Under the Stairs. This has been disc number 9 of the Slasher Classics collection by 88 Films. We're looking at X-Ray. Coming up, ladies and gents, in 2 weeks' time. Oh dear. I knew it was coming, because I remember buying this one and thinking to myself, we're going to be reliving the nasties all over again. Disc number 10 in the collection is the Boogey Man. Yep, that's right. A lot of video nasty action for you. Now, surprisingly, their website for 88 Films has removed the listing for the Blu-ray, so all they have on their page is the DVD, which is... it means the special features might not be right, and certainly the technical specs won't be correct. So we'll be reading from the box by the time we come to do the review. So what we'll do is we'll just jump into the bit of blurb that they have on the movie itself. It says, an original UK video nasty, Uli Lomel's creepy classic, The Boogey Man, returns to British shelves in this stunning HD remaster, completely uncut and uncensored. In this 80s slasher sickie, the spirit of a sleazy, psychosexual madman is trapped in a mirror during the night of his death. Years later, this evil entity is freed when the glass is destroyed, allowing our invisible prowler to slice and dice his way through a bevy of helpless teenagers and the family of people who caused his untimely demise. Featuring a cameo appearance from horror legend John Carradine and an alluring leading lady turned from the sexy scream queen Susanna Love, The Boogey Man was a critical and commercial smash upon its original 1980 release. Now, decades after this sleepy spook show first disturbed censors across the world, The Boogey Man is ready to haunt your living room all over again. Don't say you weren't warned. So yeah, I did this movie for the Video Nasties podcast I had called Doing the Nasty. I have not watched it since, and that was the first time I had seen it. If memory serves, and I'm trying to cast my memory back, I thought it wasn't very good. So I will be interested to see if revisiting it with a better master, because I think I watched this one on YouTube, will do anything for me. I will say that it has a bit of a reputation with me, and that the sequel, Return of the Boogey Man, is it's 1/3 of this movie played over again. So, and that kind of shows you the kind of reverence they have for these sort of movies. So that, ladies and gents, will be winging its way to you in approximately 2 weeks' time. The only saving grace for this movie, if memory serves, is under an hour and a half long. So it's super short, so let's get in and get this one done. So yeah, 2 weeks' time we'll be covering The Boogey Man. There's a multitude of ways to check out podcasts Under the Stairs. As always, if you come across and check us out on Apple Podcasts, subscribe to the feed. That way you get the shows as and when they drop, and access to the entire back catalogue of Teapot's content, as well as leave us a rating and a review over there, please, because that really does help what we do. You can also check us out at Stitcher Smart Radio, SoundCloud, Google Play, TuneIn, and Spotify. You can visit our website, it's teapotscast.com. You can also, if you want, support us by giving us some money and getting some cool merch out of that. Enamel pins and posters can be purchased from our Big Cartel page, teapotscast.bigcartel.com. You can come across to Facebook and join in the mad action over there. We have a group page where the listeners hang out, chat horror and all that jazz. To join that one, it's facebook.com/groups/teapotscast. If you are on Facebook, you can't be bothered with any of that nonsense. You only want to know as and when the shows are dropping. You want to check out the occasional live stream or a Thursday, then that's the Facebook page you want, facebook.com/teapotscast. You can interact with myself and the Baz on the twin prongs of social media sexiness. Instagram and Twitter both can be followed at TeapotsCast. The podcast Under the Stairs will return, ladies and gents, for your listening pleasure tomorrow with the next instalment of our Andy Loves Art House series of reviews, looking at a little early 2000s J-horror art house number called Spiral. But until then, wherever you are, what the time zone is and whatever you're up to in this big bad world of ours, please take care of yourselves out there. This is Duncan McLeish broadcasting live from Under the Stairs, and I am signing off.